Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Today we're going to talk about Maud Gonne. Maud Gonne, there's talk about a statue being put up in the city centre somewhere in Ireland to remember her. She's also known as Maud Gonne MacBride. She was an actress. She's an Irish nationalist. She's the long-time love interest of WB Yeats. She was politically active and very wealthy after inheriting trust funds. She was against the idea of war, but mentioned that the English were forcing war and forcing our hand. Maud Gonne was a devout Catholic, refusing to marry Yeats unless he converted to Catholicism. She married John McBride eventually and gave birth to Sean McBride, who later became a politician. So there you go.
God. Well, now, Maud Gonne was a beautiful lady. And aside from beauty, she had a good mind. And she was reared in what we call the Anglo-Irish tradition and would have been living a very privileged life. But she and WB Yeats, William Butler Yeats, I don't know whether he was a sir or what, but he was a poet. Lakeside at your feet in Lockhill and County Sligo. He did a poem about that, and I'm familiar with that neck of the woods, very much so. I told a story one time about that as I was meditating at the river and when I was doing my pet food business and admiring the scene and thinking of WB Yeats and suddenly there was a bumblebee in my arm. I threw him off, but I got his sting. And that's another story. But we're talking about Maud God. Now, she was beautiful. And aside from that, it was the intelligence and she was Irish. She was becoming an Irish nationalist. Now, was Maud involved in the Asgard,
That I
the land
don't
in the
know.
well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think she was. But whether she was or whether she wasn't, she wasn't. She was a great nationalist, and now so Mr. Butler, yeah, William Butler Yeats, the poet, wouldn't convert, so he didn't want to save his immortal soul because that's the only way you will do it, by becoming a Catholic. And I'm glad to see Maud didn't change her mind just to sort of, but she was a good nationalist, and Yeats was in his own way from the point of view of the stage and that kind of thing. So Maud had a good influence, and I have a feeling she was the first female elected to the British Parliament. Though I don't know whether she didn't take her seat or not, but the first woman I think that they ever had in that British Parliament. So that shows what sort of were backward
Hmm.
savages. And so Maud, I'm surprised absolutely that there's not a statue to her already, and one should be in O'Connell Street. Of course, they have destroyed O'Connell Street with the wide street that it was in my time, and so safe compared to what it is now. Suffice to say that her statue should be in a very prominent place. It could be O'Connell Street, it could be in Dame Street, or maybe Grafton Street, maybe Stephen's Green in a prominent position.
Yeah, I would
And
say someone like Maud Gonne should be up on Grafton Street, or as you say, maybe Merrion Square, maybe St. Stephen's Green, but somewhere nice.
exactly, somewhere with a bit of greenery and a statue reminiscent of her beauty and the fact that she had such vision. Because I think any person living in Ireland in her time and that, no matter what sort of a privileged background you have to have eyes and see the way people were treated. Don't forget the Irish language was not treated while the British had any influence in this country. It was only when we got our freedom that our history was treated. Our history was airbrushed for hundreds of years, and they destroyed our language and culture. They tried to do that, and they had such a malign influence in this country. It's nearly unbelievable. So I'm not surprised Maud Gonne and people like her saw what they saw and become nationalist. They had influence, and I'm sure she must have brought others of like mind. The ones that she didn't bring, they should have cleared off to where their allegiance was, which was over in Britain. Just hop over there and stay there, and to suit over there, but they don't suit here. You get me drift. So Maud is should have been a statue to her years ago. I'm absolutely amazed and disgusted that it has taken this long to erect a statue to Maud Gonne.
That's it. In 1900, she created Daughters of Ireland. It was 29 women attended the first meeting. They decided to combat every way English influence, doing so much injury to the artistic taste and refinement of the Irish people. She was really involved in Irish nationalism, according to history here.
And Yeats was as well, to bring the culture, give it a meaning. And there was other poets as well. Padraig Cullen was one, and there was music. Misha Eyre, that lad that died, that wrote that lovely music about bringing back the culture. And we've had other ones bringing back the lovely music that we had, and the beautiful culture. Don't forget, we were known as the Island of Saints and Scholars. The education was second to none, and the British savages tried to destroy it and make us out to be sort of something that we were not, like sort of drunkards.
Mm-hmm.
Painting a terrible picture, and I experienced it when I spent a few years in London with the ignoramuses that that are there, even yokes that wouldn't know how to spell, thinking that they could abuse the Irish and all the rest of it. And you see signs, no Irish need apply, of blacks or dogs or something like that. So as far as I'm concerned, they're a bunch of savages. So Maud,
Sean Malone.
anybody with up here between their brains should be aware of that, and become Irish and stick up for what's good, as the Patriots did. And they were all, of course, executed, but they succeeded because the people were against it. They had been indoctrinated. Only when people are indoctrinated, what can happen? A small minority can do a lot of harm. Like, for example, Hitler, he had a small minority of a party, but he took charge and then used propaganda and violence to achieve his ends. A most evil ruler in Germany, and even before him more. And the same with communism. Lenin and these fellas were only a small minority. Look at the harm that they inflicted. You see, so we have to be aware of all these sort of straws in the wind. But Maud Gonne and people like her were good patriots. This country deserved its freedom, not just in 1916, but much earlier, when patriots rose against the invader. They saw what they were doing. We did a program about Benjamin Franklin in 1751 when he was here. He saw the degradation of the Irish. It might have helped him to form, to support the rebellion in the United States, and celebrate Independence Day there on the 4th of July, 240 years. And believe it or not, there was only one Catholic by the name of Carol, and they were a wealthy family, I think in Maryland. There was only one Catholic signed that Declaration of Independence in the United States. And by the way, on the same subject, the first bishop in America was a second-generation Irishman, Bishop Carroll, from the same family, and very influential. And Catholics, by the way, were persecuted there, the same as they were here, because the British were in control in every state. But when they got their freedom, then they were able to build churches. And the first one was built in Baltimore by Irish Catholics.
There you go. So Maud Gonne is buried in Glasnevin Cemetery. Just before I go, she said that, she she published in her autobiography in 1938. It's a title. It's called A Servant of the Queen. It's a book she wrote, which is nice. I've never come across it though.
A servant of the Queen.
Mm.
She mean by that?
Sorry there. Yeah, I know there's irony in that. Sorry. It's a reference to both a
Really?
vision she had of the Irish Queen of old,
I'd
Kathleen the Houlihan, and
be
an
the last
ironic
person
what?
in any book. That'd be the last person. I might mention something to Brian Boru or our own nobility that we had, which were more civilized than a bunch of savages over there. So I regard him as that because of what he did. So with regard to Maud Gonne, may she rest in peace and light of heaven shine upon her. I'm glad there's a statue going up to her, and I hope it's in a prominent place, a nice place like Stephen's Green, but Stephen's Green probably more so because more people visit Stephen's Green than Marion Park. I think Stephen's Green is more, and it should be there and in a prominent place, maybe before you go into it. There's a
Well,
little patch there.
I've got a better place for Maud Gonne. I would put Maud Gonne in the middle of the lake inside in St. Stephen's Green, standing there like the Statue of Liberty, proudly looking at the people.
Very good, very good. And funny enough, I like that because I got memory. I was a little fella, and we used to go to Herbert Park, and my father would have, Lord of mercy, would have made a little boat, a little sailing boat, because he come from Holt and there was, great interest in boats. And so we were up there in Stephen's Green and or up in Herbert Park rather, with there's a pond there, lake, and it looked a big place when you're young. And so I had my little plane boat. Then I saw other ones with nice little yachts and kind of a better quality. I remember saying, gee, where did they get that? Here I have a little one that was handmade by the man. It wasn't exactly up to the standard of these other ones. And so I began to notice that there was ones which come from a privileged background with these boats. So you mentioned the lake, and that was the lake in Herbert Park. Now, it's a good park as well, but I think Stephen's Green is more well known to most people. And in the pond, as you rightly say,
And the thing about it
is
is, I suppose she'd have to be
that's a
accessible
good
because
title, by the way.
it's what?
Huh?
What'd you
That's
say?
a good title.
What?
The Pod Gone Liberty. Just the word liberty.
Actually, very good. Yeah, Johnny G, well picked up, well spotted there. Yes.
Oh yeah, when I hear something good, that's what I like to latch on to that. So Maud Gone in the middle of the pond in Stephen's Green with the ducks going around, nature at its best, and in and Maud Gone there proud, wearing I hope something Irish, and with the word liberty
Now you're
prominent.
talking. And of course, we did say, did you say there a walkway as well? You,
Well, no, I don't think so because I'd like it to be protected from the point of view because you see, unfortunately, we have a mixture of people in the country now that mightn't respect our culture. Regretfully, we see, for example, in France, where there's too much ones that are not respectful of their country, where churches are being set on fire and vandalized, far too many, because the state in France looks after the churches and they're doing a very poor job. So
there,
I think having regard for the situation we find ourselves in with all these ones from God knows where knocking around all over the place, I think it should be in the prominent place in the pond, but without any walkways, so that she has some safety because we have too many ones that we don't know what they stand for or anything like that.
very good, John. Very good. Okay, listen, that was Maud Gonne. A very, very good lady, good to Ireland, and well done,
And a good
Maud Gonne.
Catholic. Converted to be she converted to be a Catholic, meaning the way, the truth, and the life. So that's a great thing. So liberty, I think the word liberty and Catholic could be put on it because the two go together. being a Catholic set you free in the full sense of the word, to save your immortal soul. So Maud must have seen that, and she saw that being a nationalist and being a Catholic went together.
Very good. Thank you very much, John.
Don't forget the patriots all said the rosary at night time.
Okay.
That's something that we don't hear mentioned by the secular crowd that's knocking around nowadays that wouldn't know through to, but hit them in the pussy.
Right, John Malone, I'm going to go now. Thank you very much for this wonderful interview, and we'll chat again. Bye now.
Correct and right. Yeah, bye now.